Okay, so Jay, what's your feature game for week 5, I wonder?
It could only be one, couldn't it? The Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. I think we had a big game last week, but I think we've got one on an even bigger scale this week. This is probably the biggest game of the season so far. We're talking about two of the top three, at minimum, the top three defenses in the league. Two teams that know each other very well, especially these groups. The Cowboys have been eliminated by the 49ers in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. And the Cowboys put up a good fight more so last year than the year before and really slowed down this 49ers offense. On the other side, the Cowboys offense was rolling in that game, and really Dak threw that game away for them. I'm not saying that they definitely win the game, but they had plenty of opportunity to go up. In a playoff setting, 2 scores is big, in my opinion. Yeah. And Dak wasted those opportunities. Now, that was with Kellen Moore as the OC, and he had a lot of success in those 2 games. But Kellen Moore's not there anymore. It's Brian Schottenheimer. And as I said last week, I have major, major doubts about this offensive scheme. Will they be able to get any nuggets from one Trey Lance, who they have acquired from the 49ers? Maybe. But I see this game being a defensive struggle. It is going to be a case of who can make the big plays when they need to be made. Because I think defensively, it'll be a defensively won game. And a lot will depend on turnovers. And as I said, who can make the big play in the big moment? Who can scheme it up, I guess. And in that regard, I obviously favour Shanahan over Schottenheimer. I think Shanahan has proven in these games that he can make the right calls at the right time. Brock had a lot of struggle in the first half last year against the Cowboys, and he was much, much more productive in the second half. Difficult one, very difficult one, because the 49ers, they've won 14 regular season games in a row. And at some point, that is going to have to come to an end.
Yep.
Will the secondary be able to cope with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks if he is back, Michael Gallup? This is, a fairly speed-heavy offense. CeeDee Lamb versus Charvarius Ward. Charvarius Ward has not been the same since we lost Emmanuel Moseley last year. Emmanuel Moseley was our best corner, and he tore his ACL. And after that, Charvarius Ward turned into burnt toast. We then lost Emmanuel Moseley in the offseason because the Lions signed him. And this Steve Wilkes defensive scheme, I question the ability to adjust in game. We saw it with the Rams. That went on for too long for my liking. They had their way with us for 3 quarters. Mm-hmm. We eventually got the job done, which you can only give him credit for. But I just think that this could be the Achilles heel in games like this. On the other side of the ball, I think that this could be one where McCaffrey gets shut down, because this is a very, very good defensive front for the Cowboys. And we're going to have to win it, I think, with Brock throwing. That's what question the Cowboys will pose. They will try their utmost to slow this run game down and say, you have to beat us in the air, Brock Purdy. So there's a lot to unpack. Who's going to make the biggest plays in the game? Who's not going to make the mistakes? The 49ers 14-game win streak on the line. At some point, it has to end. But I don't think it's this week. I think the 49ers will get the job done at home. I think that the Cowboys play better in Dallas on turf. Their speed won't be as effective in this setting. The faithful will be loud. And I just trust the 49ers offensively to make enough plays more than I trust Schottenheimer's basic offense and Dak's volatile performances. If Dak plays well, they definitely can win the game. But I'm not sure I can trust Dak just yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got an opportunity to make me eat my words, but 49ers win. But they don't cover. It's a 3.5 spread. They don't cover. 49ers win by a field goal. Take the under.
Love it. Love it. So when I look at the game, and I quite often ask myself, and I've said this a few times in featured games this year, is do I prefer one team's D against the other O-line? And I look at both sides of it. And when I look at this matchup, I can't choose which one I prefer. I think both O-lines, both Ds are elite. Very evenly matched. Where it changes for me is on the skill players. Do I like Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey and Kittle more than what Dallas have to show? Obviously Gallup, CD Lamb, Pollard, etc. But for me, that becomes very clear who are the better skill players here. Then I think, do I trust Dak to get me a win in a game that matters against an elite defense? The evidence has been no. I don't trust him. Haven't seen enough of Purdy yet, but he's not lost a regular season game. I think that's right, isn't it, Jay? I don't think he's lost a regular season game. Yeah, it might not be lights out, but you don't need to be lights out in this team. You need to be big plays when it matters, the odd ones, just to keep the defense guessing, and don't make mistakes. And he is very efficient. He's a very good quarterback. I think he's got a lot more to come as well. I think he's only going to get better. And then lastly, I look at the coaches. Do I trust Schottenheimer / McCarthy over Shanahan? From an offensive side of things, not in your wildest dreams would I pick them ahead of Shanahan. At San Francisco, so when I look at it all like that, I see San Fran winning. I agree. I do like Dallas plus 3.5 because I could see Dallas winning. You know, like it wouldn't be an absolute shocker if Dallas won this game. Their defense could be enough to change it. They probably have the better secondary out of the two. It's probably the only area where I would put them ahead of the 49ers. But yeah, for me, I think the 49ers will just have enough. Cowboys plus 3.5. I'm not sure what the over-under is. What was the over-under, Jay?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No. Hopefully not 38.
Hopefully not 37.
So yeah,
I think it's 45.
Yeah, I like the under.
Yeah,
I think this is I expect one of the teams to have less than 20 points, that's for sure. And I see it being a few points, a field goal, maybe anywhere between 1, 2, 3 points where a field goal wins it. So yeah, I would go with under as well. What about you, Paul? Anything to add?
I love this matchup. Just love it because, like, what surprised me, having a look at this game, Brock Purdy has the same number of career playoff wins as Dak Prescott. Like, that's ridiculous to me. Dak Prescott, who's going back to the scene of his crime last year. I can't trust Dak Prescott to handle the moment. And controversially, I think the Dallas D, again, we go back to reputation and personnel, and is the game played on paper? Okay, so look, you've looked like absolute superstars against the Giants, the Jets, and the Patriots. And you got ran all over against the Arizona Cardinals, who lined up and had the same play and then schemed and ran all over you. What are the San Francisco 49ers going to do with this run game against that run D? I'm just waiting for the way, and I'm not certain, but which way is it going to be that Dallas are going to mess this up? Because they're going to mess this up. And okay, put the ball in Purdy's hands. If you can stop by some miracle CMC, then put the ball in Purdy's hands. He's got as many playoff wins as your supposed superstar quarterback, and he's got all these weapons on the outsides. San Francisco have too many different ways to win this game, and Dallas, what they do have is supposedly a D, but I just don't buy it because I haven't seen it yet. I've seen it against the Giants and Daniel Jones. I've seen it against the Jets and Zach Wilson. The old Zach Wilson. Apparently Zach Wilson's turned the corner now, but let's see. And against the New England Patriots and Mac Jones. And Josh Dobbs beat you. What are San Francisco going to do? I think San Francisco cover the 3.5. I think San Francisco lay down a marker on the Cowboys and go, no, sit down,
know your place.
Yeah. I just don't trust the Cowboys. I'm just waiting, and I can't pinpoint it, but I'm waiting for how they're going to mess it up. But they will mess it up. Niners win, Niners cover.